Hello YouTube fans, this is TheSkullKlown here to just, talk about RPG games that you should play if you are a beginner of RPGs. If you just want to get into the series and everything like that, there's games around here that you should play that I highly recommend playing if you ever want to get into RPG games. And no, I'm not going to call them Japanese RPGs, mainly because even Square Enix has noticed. I'm not even going to talk deep into that, but I will say this: Square Enix has literally said that they don't like to call their games JRPGs because they're acting like people. Because the thing is, the reason Square Enix is saying please don't call all games Japanese games is because it's not supposed to be. Turn-based RPG games came from Dungeons and Dragons. So it came to America before it became in Japan. That's one of the reasons why Dungeons and Dragons and Ultima were so famous, and it made Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy. And without Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest, we wouldn't have had in Kingdom Hearts and Shin Megami and everything like that, So, I love this game. I love Kingdom Hearts 1. I mean, look at this. I love hanging out with Donald and Goofy and shit like that. So, might as well talk about this game a little bit. This is my top 5 RPG games you should play. So, number 5 is Kingdom Hearts 1. Kingdom Hearts 1 is a good game to start off if you want to get into RPGs. It is action RPG, but it might not be turn-based the way you want it to. Or some people, hey, I get it. Some people like action and all that, right? So, the one thing that is good for action is, Kingdom Hearts. Another honorable mention is probably Final Fantasy Legends. Not Final Fantasy, oh, thank you, Donald. What is it, oh shit. There we go. Sorry, I have to pay attention to the battle here. But anyways, that's just an honorable mention. Final Fantasy Legends, not the first Final Fantasy Adventures. That's what it's called, not Legends. Adventures. Adventures is another good RPG game. It's just an honorable mention. I'm not gonna make it part of the list, but it should be an honorable mention. Mainly because me as a kid, that was the first RPG game. I mean, first action RPG game I played along with Kingdom Hearts 1. So yeah, if you ever want to get to the series, it is action RPG you should play. If you ever wanted to get, into just turn-based RPGs. If you wanted to start like with small stuff real quick, So, and Kingdom Hearts does have higher difficulties if you want to try out the difficulties. So there is that. So try out Kingdom Hearts 1 if you ever want to get into RPGs. So there you go. So number 4 on my list is the next game you should try out if you... Ooh! Really good right there. I probably shouldn't speak loud because it's like literally 1 in the morning or 2 in the morning. But anyways, so yeah, there is that right there. But so right there. Okay, like I said, number 4. Who should be number 4 in my RPG game? Let's see. It should be Final Fantasy 13. Mainly because Final Fantasy 13 is kind of easy. If you're a beginner RPG person, Final Fantasy 13 is right up your alley. It doesn't take time for the. It takes time for the more of the gameplay system to open, and by the time it opens, you basically know what to do with the opening system. So it is a good damn, I died again. So it is a good RPG to start off Final Fantasy 13 in my opinion. For hardcore gamers, they might hate Final Fantasy 13, and I get it because I am a hardcore RPG guy, and I get it. I get why people hate Final Fantasy 13, but I love Final Fantasy 13. So hey, but if for anybody that wants to start with any turn-based type of stuff, you start with Final Fantasy 13. As for number 4 on my list, number 5 is obviously Kingdom Hearts 1. So if you want to get into the RPG genre, and number 3 would be I haven't played this game a lot, but I have played a little bit of it, and that is Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. Mystic Quest deserves to be talked about because it is a game that is for RPG beginners. And you should play. Yes, it is on Super Nintendo, but if you don't mind emulating the game, then you can do it. So, for those people that don't mind emulating. Hey, look, I got another up. That's dope. So I definitely need to save at that point. Once you level it up in an RPG game, guys, you just save. Seriously, it doesn't matter where you are, you gotta fucking save. Oh shoot. Gravity, use gravity. I missed this type of gravity in Kingdom Hearts. The shit that they brought back in Kingdom Hearts 2 was not satisfying for me. But anyways, that does not matter. So, yeah, for number 3 should go for literally Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. Number 3 is perfect for Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. I think it deserves it, you know. Final Fantasy Mystic Quest has a great soundtrack, and again, it's for beginners only. Obviously, it was made for beginners, you know, so it's supposed to be like that. So if anyone hates Mystic Quest, it's because, I don't know, you're not a hardcore RPG person, and it's just for beginners only. So I enjoy Mystic Quest. I know it is for beginners, but I still enjoyed it, even though I haven't beaten the game. But for when I played, it's freaking fun, and I highly recommend it. So it deserves to be on this list. So another game, number 2. I don't know if I should put it on the list, mainly because the game doesn't really tell you where to go next, because that's how hardcore games used to be, and some games are still like that sometimes. They're like, hey, you figure out where to go, you bitch. But another game that I should point out is Dragon Quest V, Hands of the Heavenly Bride for the DS. This game is really fucking fun, it's really beautiful, and if you want to get into the Dragon Quest series, play Hands of the Heavenly Bride, because Dragon Quest V is beautiful as a game on its own, and the fact that you could choose your wives and everything like that. You have 3 wives in the game, and you can choose, and they're freaking awesome, alright? Yeah, some wives might be stronger than others, and one wife is probably good at magic while the other one's good at physical attacks, but hey, it's all up to you as a gamer, you know? What do you like, magic or physical attacks? I'm a magic type of person, so I choose the blue hair chick, alright? Because magic is my strong suit, and I want my babies to have magic. So they're really strong too when I had them in Dragon Quest 5. So Dragon Quest 5 deserves to be on this benchmark, because Dragon Quest 5 is a good way to start off with the series, and I think it's a good way to start off with the Dragon Quest series también. So if you want to get into turn-based RPGs, you should play that, mainly because it inspired a lot of games like Pokemon. Because in Shin Megami 5, I'm not Shin Megami 5, sorry. In Shin Megami, Dragon Quest 5, you can collect monsters in Dragon Quest V, which is dope. I love collecting monsters, and that should lean you a little bit more if you love Pokemon. So there you go. And number 2 on this list, yeah, it makes sense. I mean, I just mentioned it right now. Pokemon. Excuse me. But yeah, Pokemon, it is a beginner's game. I have heard that they're making it into an action RPG, which is stupid in my opinion, because it's already beginner friendly enough. How much beginner friendly do you need, to be honest, to make Pokemon more available to common folk? And that's why I have a problem with some people when they say they hate turn-based RPGs. I'm like, then stop playing Pokemon, you piece of shit. Seriously. And then you want to argue, being like, oh no, but Pokemon's different. No, it's not. You're just upset that Pokemon has different strategies for you to go to random battles. You choose to go to random battles in Pokemon. You know, in other RPGs like Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest, they force you to go to it. Why? Because it's a requirement. Fucking assholes. So, yeah, that's why I would choose that game over everything on this list, obviously, because it is not bad for a beginner. To be quite honest with you, that's just me as a gamer. So it is pretty good. So I highly recommend playing that game, obviously. So for number 1 on my list is, I mean, it's probably not good for beginner wise, but that's because that's because it's number 1 for a reason, right? Number 1 that should be on the list is Final Fantasy Legends. And yeah, I've already pointed out before, maybe that's why I kind of spoiled it before with, oh crap, I hate when that happens. They should have really added these right there so I won't fall off, but whatever. Hey, it's Kingdom Hearts at the end of the day. Trying to make it at least challenging or frustrating for some people, I guess, right? But anyways, Final Fantasy Legends 1 on the... I do recommend Final Fantasy Legends 3 and working your way back to, you know, 2 and 1. Because, number 1 is not really playing friendly, but I still recommend the whole trilogy of Final Fantasy Legends, the whole Final Fantasy Legends saga, but which is funny because it is called Saga in Japan. I fucking love the Saga games on Game Boy. I highly recommend it. They all beginner friendly in my opinion, but I still think the third game is more beginner friendly than the other two games. Oh shit, thank you. Mainly because the other two games really don't expand a lot of what you should do with your parties. But the third game, they got it really right, and the soundtrack to all the Final Fantasy Legends games are really, really good. And I highly recommend it. I really do. Final Fantasy Legends 1, 2, and 3 are really fun, really engaging. I do recommend if you're a first beginner into Final Fantasy Legends, you should play 3, then 2, and then 1. If you're the first comer, you know, if you already into you know, like Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy 1 and 2 and 3, then you know, play 1 and then 2 and then 3, you know. But if you're a beginner, play 3, then 2 and 1, you know? So, that's just me as a person that is a gamer and wants to tell people for beginner-wise, because I feel like Final Fantasy 3 Legends, or Final Fantasy Legends 3, is a good beginner game. But the other two is most likely for hardcore gamers, especially the first Legend game. But especially if you play Final Fantasy 2, because Final Fantasy 2 is almost a reference to, well, Final Fantasy Legends is almost a reference to Final Fantasy 2. So if you don't like Final Fantasy 2, you might not like Final Fantasy Legends. Even though Final Fantasy 2 is good, just people like to talk shit about Final Fantasy 2 just because they don't understand and understand how the gameplay works. Because everyone wants to be like, oh, I want to have all my characters to have the healing items. Well, that's your fault to grind more, idiot. And yeah, you want to look at the game and say, oh, it's a flaw. Nope, that's your fault, idiot. Fucking dumbass. Seriously, you made the game way harder than you need to. Fucking piece of shit. That's all I have to say for the people that hate Final Fantasy 2. You're just a piece of shit that don't understand Final Fantasy 2. And again, Final Fantasy 2 should be honorable mention because Final Fantasy 1 might be for beginner players, but Final Fantasy 2 is for hardcore gamers. If you can play Final Fantasy 1 just fine, then play Final Fantasy 2. If you can play Final Fantasy 1 just fine. That's just an honorable mention. But there you go. Those are the games that I, you know, care about at least. So I think I mentioned number 2, but I never mentioned number 1, right? So if I didn't mention number 1, forget it. But hey, let's mention number 1 right now. Because the reason I'm fucking up right now is because I'm drunk. Oh shit, what's this? Oh, a bright crystal. That's just really good, especially in Kingdom Hearts 1. But just hopefully you don't die. Just kill this fucker. Oh yeah, kill him. Kill him, kill him, kill him. There we go. There we go. Now we don't have to... Yeah, Goofy and Donner, I made Goofy and Donner really reliable in this game. Because I know some people might be like, oh, Donner and Goofy sucks in Kingdom Hearts 1. It's because you don't know how to use them. Yeah, I admit it. I didn't know how to use them either until I grew up. So, hey, if you didn't know how to use them and when you were a kid, that's different. You're a kid. But if you're acting like that as an adult, then, well, then you suck. But anyways, number 1 in my list is, I mean, I kind of talked about it already. I mean, okay, fine. Number 1 on my list on the RPG games that you should play as beginner-wise is, what is it? Yeah, you know what? Final Fantasy 1. Fuck it. Final Fantasy 1. Yeah, Final Fantasy 1 goes to more hardcore players and everything like that, but Final Fantasy 1, it's really, to me, it is for beginners, mainly because it does stuff that screams beginner-wise. You know, that's just me. Yes, I know some hardcore players might be like, oh, no, you should play like Final Fantasy 6 or something like that, you know, or 7. But I say Final Fantasy 1. Why? Because the characters could be your own. The characters could be like you. You can name them and everything like that. And everything that happens in the game you know, is not canon to the other games anyways. And yes, all Final Fantasy games are like that. But at the same time, if you want to have fun and just experience how the gameplay is and maybe the mechanics of the magic and everything like that, and just explore the world, then Final Fantasy 1 got you covered, in my opinion. I mean, do not play Dragon Quest 1 if you want to get into like more hardcore more hardcore RPG stuff. Because I guarantee you this, if you want to play Dragon Quest 1 in your beginner RPG, you will hate RPGs forever. I'm saying that right now. I've been playing RPGs since I was a little kid, so I'm used to Dragon Quest type of one hard level. So, but if you're not used to that, then I know you're gonna hate RPGs in general. So, yeah, Pokemon is number 2, while while Final Fantasy 1 is number 1. Makes sense. But hey, this is just my list. You can disagree with me all you want. What would your list be? Obviously. Obviously my list goes progressively differently, because it goes to more drastically of like, hey, if you're going to start off with something, start off with this, and then if you're going to start off with that, then start off with this, more hardcore, more refined, and more of a badass, basically, of you trying to stick your teeth into some good RPGs, basically, and then get into the hardcore stuff like Shin Megami and Dragon Quest, because to me those are the hardcore RPG turn-based games that you should really play. And Persona, obviously. Most people might say Persona is for beginners. I guess it depends what Persona game, right? But I won't say Persona, mainly because I haven't really played those games hardcore, even though I would love to. The only game I've played is Persona 5 Strikers, even though that's an action RPG. I still recommend just Kingdom Hearts in general for like your beginner RPG. For the hardcore action RPG, I'll probably just recommend like, obviously, you know, Persona 5 Strikers. But if it was like beginner, then most likely Final Fantasy 15. So, or Final Fantasy 13 if you want to go into the turn-based stuff. So, yeah, that's just me going through the list down here, you know, of what I should do or how I should recommend it. So yeah, that's how I recommend of you playing these games. If you're into turn-based RPGs or used to not used to, but getting into the series if you want to get into RPGs. So I highly recommend starting with Kingdom Hearts 1, obviously. And I know some people might not like the story for Kingdom Hearts, but hey, every RPG game has a story that you're probably not going to get into anyways. Because RPGs are like that. RPG games have a crazy, whack-over story that probably might not make sense, but you will care about it or care about the characters because their life story makes sense, but the world in general might not, you know? So, that's just me as a gamer. Because I know some people might be like, oh, this doesn't make sense. But I'm like, it's a game. You want a game to make sense? But yet, there's not a real life potion that you can freaking heal yourself, right? When you're dying? Come on, guys. But that's it. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and be safe, guys.